Evening everybody, really delighted to be here on Mull. I'm also not a stranger to the place, as a couple of you might know. I also used to come here pretty much every year, but the opposite end of Mull. My uncle used to farm at Calgary, and so my youth was spent getting on the bus in Campbelltown, changing it with Gilpay, then on to Oban. I grew up in Kintyre and spending my summer holidays that I wasn't on my own farm, on another farm. Just a different time of child labour that we got shared around various cousins' farms, really, I think is what was going on. So I'm no stranger to the place, I know it, I like it, and I'd like to make, as I kind of follow that, thank you very much all of you. What I want to do though is just have some, make it a lot more local, a lot more personal, a lot more related to some of the experiences that people here on Mull have. I've got a few words to say on that. But what I do want to say is just follow on that Gareth introduction, just a bit more about me, because you probably all know a lot more about the three previous speakers than you do about me. I'm, as you've already heard now, I'm an Argyll person through and through. Know the whole place like the back of my hand. It's where I was reared, it's where I grew up, it's where all my cousins still live. It's my patch, I feel it's my world, and I love it to bits. Therefore I'm a Gael. I'm a very proud one. I'm a bit like a stick of rock in some ways though when it comes to kind of Scottish cliches. I was a Highland dancer, I even learned the pipes, my father's a piper. I've followed Scotland to more countries and is really sensible. Not that any of these qualified, 10 at the last count, no, off to Germany in September, just before the referendum as well. I don't know whether that's more confidence in the result or madness about following Scotland. The point is I am like a stick of rock. I'm utterly Scottish, always have been, always will be. And I could never be one iota more Scottish if somebody gave me a Scottish passport. I don't need it. I feel Scottish and I always will be. So for me, this referendum is absolutely not about identity. It's not about choosing, to promote your Scottishness ahead of anything else, because that's secure. That's absolutely secure for me. So having got that out of the way, the other thing that it's not about, I think it's fair to say, is policies. Because ultimately, as Carolyn and others have said, we then get to choose the government that we want. So hooking policies like the bedroom tax or the food banks or all these policies. I share your horror about food banks, Carolyn, no question about that. But what I also do is I look back at all the efforts and the attempts that we have made over the years to produce what I would say are kind of progressive policies that we probably share. They've not been on the back of constitutional change, because constitutional change will deliver a new passport. It won't deliver all the other things, because you then have to vote them in and argue the case. Every case needs to be argued. The minimum wage, the windfall tax that Labour argued for before the 1997 election was hard, but was argued for, persuaded people bought into that idea eventually, having weighed it up. Individual policies and individual arguments need to be worked through so that people make the case, understand the case, and you then win something like the minimum wage. We hope to do the same with 0 hours contracts. Each of those individual policies needs to be scrutinised on its own. And one of the things I find unhelpful and frankly a bit kind of fantastical about what is being bundled in a job lot with a yes vote is the idea that you get what you wish for. You'll get, if you want rid of this, you'll get it, you'll get all these other things. Some of them I want, some of them I don't. But the point is, I don't think that's how you really get change. I think all the individual changes, whether it's been equal pay, equal rights, all those individual changes were hard fought and hard argued for. And individually, I think that actually makes for a more successful change, rather than seeing that things have been delivered in some bulk buying mechanism with a single X on the 18th of September. I don't think it's realistic, I don't think it's right, I don't think it will happen. It will just result in enormous disappointment if we all imagine that the 18th of September is like a fairy dust moment when we all get everything that we wished for Christmas. So for me, the referendum therefore isn't about identity, it isn't about a particular subset of policies that you really want. It's actually about, as Douglas was saying, it's about separating. It's about making difference the basis on which you decide things. And coming back to this notion of solidarity, which is the opposite of that, I would argue, I think it's really interesting that there's not a single trade unionist who's come out, a single leading trade unionist from any of the big unions that said, we think this is the way to go, this is what will deliver the sorts of policies that they've argued for, the approaches that they've fought for and argued for, to work together and to try and deliver better wages, better conditions for working people in this country. And that's working people, as we've said, who all of us share aspirations for better conditions, better wages, and that those aspirations are no respecter of boundaries and borders. So what is it about? If it's not about identity and it's not about job lots of policies, it's actually about, I believe, working together and sharing. It's working together. I think it's something that islanders and what people in Mull do all the time, just as people in other parts of Britain. You know that on your own, you struggle. You have to collaborate and work together. You have to understand that it's by working in a wider community, whether that Mull community annexes to the rest of Argyll or to the rest of Scotland, that you achieve things. You see that most evidently as well when you've got teams in Olympic Games and Commonwealth Games that we see right now. It's that opportunity to collaborate, to come together, to work together. We're going to have to get some water, I think. Excuse me. I should have got that one. It's that chance to collaborate that we have when we're working with our close neighbours. We are one island, we are one piece of rock in the North Atlantic, and what we have, I think, is a chance to make the best of that by staying together. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.